It's music. I am at home and I love everything. The weather is good, the environment is good. This is Now Tell Us, and I'm your host, Anthony Mwerore. At Now Tell Us, we always get guests come and tell us something interesting. They come and educate us, they come and inspire us, and it's always a good time that we have here. And when I say always, that means that even today, we have some interesting things going on here because we have a great guest who is known as Rex Beasley. He's going to tell us about architecture that is in rhythm with the earth environment. And I'm excited to know much more about that. If you're as excited as I am, then please join me as we go and meet Rex for today's episode. Here we go. Hi, Rex.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. And let me know, where are you?
I'm in Southern California in the high desert near Joshua Tree.
Oh, that's cool. And how's the weather there today?
It's very strange right now with this huge storm coming through, and they're talking about snow of all things.
Whoa, snow and a
Yeah,
storm.
yeah.
Two things
We,
combined.
we don't get snow. I mean, that's
Okay.
it's, it's very unusual. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, welcome to Now Tell Us, and we are excited to have you tell us a bit about architecture. I love art, and I actually was to take architecture in college, but it didn't happen. So it's a subject that I'm excited to know, to always hear about, and we are glad that you're here with us.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe we could start by you introducing yourself to us. Who is Rex?
Okay. So first of all, I'm an inventor. I'm not an architect, and
Oh.
I create architectural products.
Mm-hmm.
And um, Uh, these are things that anybody can use. A builder can use it, a homeowner, an architect. But it's all about doing more with less, being efficient, being in harmony with uh, the space you're in, being more connected to the space you're in. In fact, sort of as a baseline, um, in my background, I've always been interested in being frugal and efficient, doing more with less. Um, and in fact, a lot of people think of green as being less. Your lifestyle's not as good. You have to compromise. You can't live as big and as wild. And so I would say, Jess, that's not true at all. And I have
Mm-hmm.
architecture that is wilder and crazier than anything that people are used to. This is all what you'll see in my architecture is stuff that very few people know about. But it's architecture that's very green, and then it does more with less. It's smaller spaces act like bigger spaces. It's more connected to the environment. It uses energy, the energy of nature. So again, I'm showing green in a way that is not compromising at all. There's an exciting new world out there where you're in rhythm with the earth and being very responsible to the earth.
Okay. And how did it all start for you? How did you become interested in this area, in this field?
Well, so young, when I was relatively young out of college, I've always was very interested in multifunctionality
Mm-hmm.
um, and efficiency. I mean, it even goes, I mean, in fact, one of my sort of parallel goals in life is to get people to appreciate how they can do more with less and be efficient. You know, for instance, some people go out and they do errands and they're very inefficient. They go here, they go there, and they're really wasting time and it becomes busy work.
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to planning your errands and having getting more done at the same time and increasing the quality of life in that you're not involved in so much busy work. You're able now to turn your time to the things that are more important. It's sort of a Zen kind of a thing. If you think about um, not doing lots, reducing the amount of errands you have to do, reducing having how much stuff you have and how the stuff fills up your world and you have a more encumbered world. This all is a distraction and makes your life less zen-like, less peaceful. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm doing that both in lifestyle as well as with architecture.
Oh, okay, that's good. Good to hear that. Now, I actually went to your website and I fished for some photographs, and I'm going to show them. And this one is going to be seen by the people who are watching video, but the one who are listening to audio will have to hear us. And I want you to tell us what is happening here. And
Okay.
the first photograph is this one. Can you please tell us about that photo?
Okay. So this photograph is is showing how the architecture I do is like a sailing yacht, whereas architecture as it's practiced worldwide basically is like a motorboat.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a sailing yacht, you can go anywhere. You can literally go around the world. Um, you don't need to have fuel. You are working in grace with the environment. You know, sometimes you go faster, sometimes you go slower. So you're more conscious of the environment. You're actually out in the environment more often. Whereas a motorboat, which would be the reverse of this, what this picture is showing, in a motorboat, you step on the gas, the thing roars, it takes off, you pound through the waves, you get where you're going, hopefully, doesn't break down. And so you aren't really connected with the environment. You aren't very conscious of it. In fact, typically you are wanting to get where you're going and have it all over with, right? You know, you want to stop the pounding, stop the noise, get to where you're going. Whereas in a sail, and when you're sailing, that's part of the joy of the experience is being is experiencing the environment. Getting there is part of the story. And
Mm-hmm.
so the architecture I have developed is very much like a sailing yacht. This place I'm in right now is like a sailing yacht. In fact, it's that place you saw in the picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what have you provided in that, or if it was not, I mean, what have you provided in that building, in that architecture? Okay. Since you
Okay.
told us
So,
it's an architecture,
beg your pardon.
an architecture rather. Hmm?
So, things that this house does, it acts like a sailing yacht.
Yeah.
Um, so, first of all, it uses very little energy. It's able to capture the energy from outdoors when you want it, and then it's able to shy away from it when you don't want it. This house breathes. So, for instance, there are doors at one end that when the it's cooler outside and it's gotten warm inside, like in the afternoon, the doors will open automatically. And at the other end is a skylight, which is high up, and the house breathes. Um, there are other, for instance, the kitchen you may show later the video. There's a kitchen that goes outdoors. So normally the traditional house, let's call it the motorboat house, they would have a kitchen indoors and then they might have a kitchen outdoors. And so they'd have to walk out to the kitchen outdoors, which typically is dirty. And so people end up not using their outdoor kitchen because it's so dirty. In this house, the kitchen actually literally swings outdoors. And in that swinging outdoors, not only are you being very green because you're using the same real estate and the same stuff more, you're also making the house again be more open. So the inside and the outside, it's like there's a amorphous connection between indoors and outdoors, as opposed to a motorboat house, static, solid wall. The outdoors is there, the indoors is here.
So to get right, what we are discussing here is that it's the idea, is the concept that you present to the uh, architecture, or maybe to the to the owner of the building. Is it Am I right?
Yes, I'm showing them ideas they can use in their structures.
Okay.
So yeah, so in other words, if somebody um, a lot of what goes on in my environments is that the same spaces transfer and transform to be other spaces. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you could actually, and this is sort of like, this, where could this go if you go all the way to infinity? Um, Effectively, my homes, one room could be many homes, many rooms.
Mm.
Um, yeah, you know in Star Trek, the what was the name of that? There's a space they have, uh, the holodeck. You know the holodeck in
Mm-hmm.
well, maybe you're too young. The holodeck
Okay.
in Star Trek. Um, when they went into that space, they were anywhere they wanted to be. It could be anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Effectively, by transforming architecture, I'm creating spaces that are like the holodeck in that they become many spaces. Um, one space could be 100 spaces.
Okay.
Um, so it's a whole idea of more with less, being
Okay.
frugal. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll send the people to your website at some point so that they can go and watch the rest of that beautiful construction. They go and look at the inside and the sliding kitchen and understand how they are in similarity with the photo. Now, I've got another photo. Tell us about this a bit.
Okay. So this is all. This is a great photo, but it also is better in terms of the video.
Mm-hmm.
So that is actually a living room that's glided out of the house into the surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's the high desert, and the weather in the high desert is gorgeous, pretty much year round. And so the whole idea is that you would want to be have accessibility to the outside easily. And so at the push of a button, your whole living room goes outdoors. And of course, behind you, the space now comes great for party, for doing yoga, for exercising, entertaining. So it is an example of a simple house or a simple structure that's actually quite dramatic in terms of its ability to open up and be many things to many people.
Wow. And ideas are always welcome. We can never get tired of hearing new ideas. Now, this one, at the push of a button, the living room goes outside, and then that's beautiful, and I like that image.
If I can add to that, one of the problems in our society, I think, is that in the motorboat house and the static house, is that we end up being indoors a lot more than we even realize. Because
Mm-hmm.
we look outdoors and we see our beautiful furniture, maybe we have a beautiful backyard, but we think, oh, that furniture is dirty. I really can't go sit out there and work with my computer because then I'm going to bring dirt back in, and the chair's not that comfortable. So this architecture shows the simplicity of how you can be part of the outdoor environment. You go out with very comfortable furniture, so you're more likely to go out and enjoy it. And then if you have to come back in, boom, push a button, you're back in.
Hmm. And I think this is going to be very important and very useful in this age where now we are transforming our homes into our offices. This is where we are working from.
Yes.
S-
Yeah.
So if I can change the outlook of my environment today to be different from how it was yesterday, then I think this is going to be more interesting working environment.
Yes. And the other thing that's going on is people are understanding that from a health perspective, having a closed up space and having other people in there with you in the closed up space, that's not good either. So again, the fact this house breathes more. I mean, you could actually entertain outdoors, never even have your friends come inside. So if you're truly concerned and want to be in a more sterile environment, that actually creates a space that's very good for socializing and being healthy.
Hmm. And apart from giving out the idea, out there and asking people to implement. Do you at times, or do you always work with them from beginning to end in order that you may direct how the idea that was in your head can be put into reality?
So how do I work with other people?
Do you work with them? Do you work with the architects? Do you work with the owners
Yeah.
to see that your idea is transferred, is translated in the correct manner that you have it in your own mind?
Yeah, we provide the hardware. So all the mechanisms, the components, in a sense, this is large pieces of furniture.
Okay.
And so we work with, depending on what's, if it's a remodel, there's one situation. If it's a new build, there's another. But we work with, just like you know, put an air conditioner in a house and you work with the architect about how the air conditioner works and the venting. Similarly, we would work with it. We would show the components and provide the components to put them into a structure. I don't know if you're going to show a picture. Did you see a picture of a kitchen going indoors and outdoors? Is that one of the pictures that you have on there?
And now this is why we are going to send them into your website so that they can go and look at all that we are going to explain when that time comes.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's a really interesting example of how these are large pieces of furniture. And so it isn't, even though it's quite exotic in the sense that your space changes so dramatically, it's almost like you remodel your home over and over. One of
Mm-hmm.
the things that you experience is that whereas often you kind of get used to a space, like when people move a couch
Mm-hmm.
for like a couple of weeks, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm living in a different house.
Yeah.
In these houses of transforming architecture, you're always living in a different house. It's always moving. It's always changing. It's very refreshing. Again, the spaces become other spaces. Another component of architecture that we use as an example is we have a wall where on one side is, for instance, a home office and the other side is a home theater. And so if you imagine between your master bedroom and your living room, you could have your home office and you could take it from one room to the other. Maybe you're going to meet with clients. So you talked about working from your home. So you can bring your home office out into the living room, meet with a client, but then later, maybe you don't want the office out in your living room, so you put it away back in the bedroom. On the other side of the wall, you have a home theater. Now you could watch the home theater from the living room, or you want to watch a football game, so you swing it into the bedroom so you don't bother everybody. They can sit in the living room and have peace and quiet, and you get to watch your football game and not bother people.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all examples of where, like as you're suggesting, we are doing more in our homes. We're more involved there. We're in there longer. And so we need to have the ability to change things and make the spaces do more.
Hmm. Wow, that's beautiful. Very beautiful. And I'm imagining, wouldn't that be, I mean, and where have you worked? Is it only locally or have you gone far and wide? Tell us, maybe you can have an idea of where you've worked and where you can work, where you can work with the people there to transform the environment
Well,
for their.
I've done projects all over. I use another way that I've used architecture that changes shape is in commercial environments.
Okay.
And I create a commercial environment of this nature in Los Angeles and New York City. And in those environments, boardrooms don't get used very much because they're big, huge spaces and people feel strange in the spaces. Well, I have had it set up so that it transforms in a similar way we're talking right now, where the boardroom comes apart and it spins away, and you now have two different conference rooms, and there's
Mm-hmm.
4 different arrangements on that room that spins. There's 4 arrangements around it, so there's 16 configurations.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another example, and those are projects when you ask about what I've done in the past. I did commercial projects of recent, done projects in Los Angeles. There was this program that's been a lot of publicity about where the bedroom glides out of the house. Now, my emphasis is in the desert. I'm spending most of my time in the desert, and we're working with a lot of other iterations of what you've seen there. Where,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, one of the things I'm doing, I'm creating these 3 structures. One of them is a home. In fact, it's on there. You'll see the geotech, and it turns and follows the sun and does a lot of other things in terms of the quality of life, and produces enough energy for 5 homes. So imagine one home that can now power up 5 homes. Then I'm doing another one that is a tiny home. It's 600 square feet. It's relocatable, and it produces enough energy for itself and the home you're next to. So let's say that you're a young couple and you want to have your tiny home. This tiny home, if you move into their backyard, because a lot of times that's where people put their tiny homes, you can now power up your parents' home. How about that for a goal? And then the other tiny home we're working on is actually a rickshaw kind of a structure. It's 25 square feet. It has its own energy. It has security. You know, you're in your own home theater, but you're actually basically on a rickshaw, a large bicycle, and that becomes your home. So instead of people like sort of suffering in that way, because a lot of times you see people living on the street and having a difficult time, this form of architecture, this small structure, you can move it, you have security, you have a high quality of life. You know, space is an issue of perception. When you put on the goggles and you go in and you play games, you know, the whole world's there, but you're really just in a 2x2 space.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my approach towards architecture is understanding that it's not the physical space, it's the experience of the space. And so those are 3 examples of architecture where it's all different sizes and they're each providing a different goal for somebody.
Now I could show more photos, for example, one like this, but I would prefer people go to the website. That's where they are going to see better. Now this is the sliding kitchen you are talking about. That is
exactly. That's a very poignant picture in the sense that the kitchen's out right now. When it's in, you would have just thought it was a part of your kitchen, but it swings outdoors and it actually forms an outdoor kitchen. And so it's the whole aspect of something being very simple. It dramatically changes the environment, the space in terms of the feel of it. It's great for entertaining. It's healthy. The house breathes, and it's very green. It's not, you aren't using more real estate. You aren't having more stuff. You know, we all are drowning in stuff, and so part of what I'm doing is having architecture that doesn't need to be. It's everything does more. Therefore, there's more things. There's less things because we're taking better use of the things we have.
So now I think it's a good time to just let them know where they can see all this and more, and also get to contact you with their own ideas, and maybe you can help them. You can talk with them and work out something beautiful like the ones that you've done. How do they get to see that and more?
Well, as you suggested, they can go to environmentsbyrex.earth. They can also go to Environments by Rex YouTube channel.
Okay.
That's a good place to go, Environments by Rex YouTube channel. And then I don't know, you could give them my email. I don't know if you want to put that in there. We could do that, I guess, in the credits or something.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I'm great. I like to Zoom with people, so I can do projects anywhere. It doesn't have to be in Southern California. It's still easy to connect.
Okay, so go to environmentsbyrex.earth and you'll see more of the images and you'll get more ideas to transform your space into an environment and inviting place. Work from home, work beautifully. Also go to the YouTube channel Environments by Rex and you see ideas you've not seen before. Now, what is that you have in the future? Maybe your own projects or a project that is coming up that you would like us to know about.
Okay, so Yeah, we are creating there's a structure called the geotech, and
Okay.
you can go on and you can see the geotech. It's on that the environments by Rex. That is actually a home that I'm giving away. I can help people build it if they want to build it, but if somebody says, "Wow, I get this. This is amazing. I'm a builder or I'm an architect, and I want to go with this," we are providing all of the technology, all the information, all the drawings we have to help people build this home. And the reason that I'm giving it away and I'm facilitating other people using it or doing it is because I think it's just too valuable for me to hold on to it and have it just be my projects. So the geotech is probably the most important thing I've done. It will have a huge impact on global warming because, as I said earlier, this home will power up 5 other homes. There you go. It has an amazing quality of life. That turns and tracks the sun. It has, when you see the video, you'll see again a fascinating quality of life, um, and it will no doubt spawn many other types of architecture that are of this nature because it's a different way of looking at architecture. It's a dynamic element that means that you're optimizing the energy from around you, the sun, etc. But not only that, it's an amazing quality of life in terms that you're lying in bed and the house comes and opens up while you're outdoors, if you want to be, or you can be glassed over. The kitchen can be indoors and outdoors. Again, from the animation, you can see that. But that is a project I'm particularly interested in pursuing, and we are actually creating a nonprofit called DAOS, DAOS,
Mm-hmm.
Earth. That's a nonprofit organization where we actually are going to help people build this structure and other structures. So that's when you ask, thank you for asking that. And that's one of my big goal because I'm interested in educating people about this way of thinking, learning how to be efficient with their time and their energy, learning how to live off the grid. So that's this large project of general education in terms of how to live in ways that are more efficient, that are more green, and as I said, a higher quality of life. Green is not compromising. It doesn't need to compromise at all. A sailing yacht obviously is not compromising, and it's a good example of how you can live efficiently and less impact on the environment and actually have a higher quality of life, not a less quality of life.
Okay, that's good. So DAO's community,
Yes.
that's open source. Wow, that's cool. Okay, so this has been Nautilus. Now, I'm thinking to myself, and I don't know, maybe the one who's also watching or listening is thinking to himself or herself, isn't the implementation of these ideas, apart from now that what you say that you're giving out there, isn't all the others so much expensive to implement to make your ideas into reality?
So, no, they're not expensive. These are not expensive things. So, one of the things that I guess is important to think about is I'm an engineer besides being an inventor.
Okay.
And so I always say to myself, okay, what's really simple? What's real simple but has a huge impact? And so everything you're looking at there, for instance, uh, well, one of the parts of the simplicity in it is that it does not fight gravity.
Okay.
So if we did something where we lifted something up really high and then put it back down, that's expensive and that's problems and that's dangerous. What I'm showing you is very, very simple. It's very gentle and gracious in that we're not fighting gravity. Most of what you saw, I shouldn't have most, but a lot of what you're seeing there, you can move it manually. You don't even need a motor.
Oh, okay.
When we do move it with a motor, you can use a motor. It's fun. It's just a little tiny motor. It doesn't even take much energy. But all of the things you're seeing are really uh, um, gracious and simple in terms of how they move. Very few parts, very little to maintain.
Wow, it's good to know that. So once again, please head over to environment. bilerex.earth and get to see what's there, and also get to connect with Rex and just implement new ideas. Don't just go with the common ideas. Implement new ideas. Get them from Rex. Yes, we thank
Okay,
you very
cool.
much. We thank you very much, Rex, for coming to Now Tell Us.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yes, and we are just about to sign off. But before we sign off, we'd like you to tell us a few words that we should always remember. Which are they?
Words we should always remember. I'd say be in the moment. Um, I'd say youth is what is it? Youth is wasted on the young. um, but I'd say take advantage of every day.
Wow. Take advantage of every day, says Rex. Yeah, that's about it for today. We thank you. We thank our
Okay.
viewers and our listeners, and we are signing off.
Okay, Anthony.
Yeah, we are thankful to you for being with us.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. So this has been Now Tell Us. I have been your host, Anthony Muirore, and together with our guest today, Rex Beasley, we are saying bye for now. Bye.